Peace. What's up, y'all? Sorry, I'm 5 minutes late. Was making a sandwich. Yo, what's up, Isaac? Oh, wait a minute. I'm getting this thing. I gotta always forget. I gotta mute this thing. Hold on. Yeah, let me mute that. All right. Good afternoon, y'all. Um, I always like these things, man. I'm really getting used to this YouTube live thing because it really gives me a lot of flexibility in terms of putting out content and you know just talking with my people. And I'm really feeling talking with y'all. Um, this is not probably going to be a long show because I'm really doing it by myself. I don't really have anybody I can bounce off of. It seems like everybody is busy. I sent out some invites, and if anybody wants to join in, just join in to the people I sent the invite to. Um, but in the meantime, I want to get this out of the way. I don't know exactly how this thing works, but oh, okay. All right, I see. Um, on the screen, if you're on the YouTube and you're looking at the screen, peace, Regina Davison. Good afternoon. There's an exclamation point in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. If you click on that, you'll see a poll, and the question is, what is the solution to the American problem? I know who you are, Regina. I've seen you before. And it's two options. One is LIN, which is Land Infrastructure Nationhood, and the second option is Self-Help Gurus. So I just want to get an idea of where you guys are coming from in terms of this topic that I'm getting ready to go into. I touched on it on the previous broadcast. I actually did a little YouTube clip that if you click on the exclamation point, you'll see that clip underneath the poll, and it says you can't solve systemic problems with individual solutions. And so that's number one. Click on the poll and answer that. Also, just following in the footsteps of my boy Dynas, like this video, hit the like button, hit the thumbs up if you're listening to this. That's always appreciated. Because feedback lets us know what people are feeling or they not feeling. And this is the reason why you get a lot of, if you ever wonder why does Roseanne getting fired get more mileage than the people that died in Puerto Rico, is because people give Roseanne a lot of energy. So if we don't know that we're getting energy, then people are going to put out content based on where the energy is. And right now, we want the energy to be on land, infrastructure, and nationhood. But if nobody's liking the videos, nobody's sharing the videos, then we don't really have much of a leg to stand on in terms of asking people to produce this type of content if nobody's supporting it. So I've been lax in that, and I've always said that it's not a good thing that I'm lax in it. Like I said, a brother on my previous one of the videos that I did said he's been listening to me for 5 years, and for the first time he heard me ask someone to subscribe to my channel. And I said that's kind of sad. So hit the like button, subscribe to this channel if you haven't subscribed already, and hit the little bell so you'll be notified when there are videos. Now another thing that I haven't promoted as much as I should. I'm going to put the link into the BAIO Ning site. I'm going to put that. I was trying to link it on the video, but they don't allow you to do that. Like, I think in order for you to link an outside site, you have to be monetized, and fuck them. I ain't monetizing this site, this channel. I'm not doing that. So I just put it in the group. I just sent the link there. What we're trying to do, like my brother Jonathan Hill calls this in the military, it's called mustering. The BAIO is at the stage right now where we're trying to find out where people are and what they do. So if you go into if you sign up to the Ning site, which is free, by the way. Nobody's charging you anything. You don't have to donate anything. Even though there's a donate button on the site, we don't promote it because we're not really using it. The only people that use that donate button is the administrators, so we can pay for the site. But we haven't asked the members to donate a dime. And we don't want them to until we get things in order and get the infrastructure in place for taking funds, if we decide to do that. I don't even know if that's not really a thing for us right now. Right now, we're in the mustering stage. And the mustering stage means when you go into the site and you sign up, I want you to go to the groups section on the left-hand side and click on groups. When you click on groups, it's going to take you to all the groups, but at the top, it's going to have 3 tabs: all groups, my groups, which is yours, and featured groups. Click on featured groups and join the state chapter that you live in. Now, I haven't had the time to put all the states, but I put the most popular states, the states that we see people are in. If a state hasn't been created for you yet, a state chapter for whatever state you're in, and you don't see it there, just reach out, put a message on the home page, and we'll create one. But right now we have all of the major popular states with people in them, and so far I've only had to create one extra one because there was one person in Minnesota. So I created a new one for that. But basically, we're just trying to find out how many people are in each state. And we want the states to kind of like be autonomous, where the people in that state can meet with each other, have meet and greets and do whatever they want to in terms of getting more members and get more people involved in the whole nationhood process. And that's where we are right now. And keep in mind, no one said anything about money. We're not asking you for a dime. Yes, Charlotte, no, NC is there, Regina, North Carolina. So when I think you're in the site, I believe. I see so many names back and forth, or maybe I'm getting confused. But if you're not, just click on that link and join, and you go to the North Carolina chapter. And we're just trying to see how many people in the United States where the largest contingency of people are. So far, it's New York, Georgia, and California. New York, Georgia, California. I think after that is Texas and Florida. Those seem to be, but I'm not saying that that's where all the people are, but in terms of the people that have signed up, they're getting the most. So let's see. So that's I did it in well, actually less, because I started the show at 12:05 and it's 12:13 now. So I managed to do that less than 15 minutes. Not bad. So in summary, join the BAIO website, the Ning site. I'll click the link again. Like this video, click on the like button, subscribe and click the bell. What else? I'm not good at promotion, so forgive me. I'm trying to figure out what else. And that's it. Just when you join the site, when you get approved, go to the chapter that you're in so we can start finding out how many people in each state want nationhood. Now, back to the topic. The title of today's show is The Folly of Solving Systemic Problems with Individual Solutions. And the description of the show reads as such. Mr. Holipsism expands on a topic that was introduced in his last live stream. The topic addresses the dynamic of Black leaders / representatives / talking heads, provide an analysis and a breakdown of the socio-economic and political system, in all caps, of white supremacy with expert detail. Yet, when it comes to providing solutions to those problems, they default to individual solutions. It is the opinion of Mr. Holipsism this isn't a mistake, miscalculation, or a mere oversight, but intentional and purposeful. Now, what do I mean by this? Let me go to the chat room. I got a few people in the chat room. I want you to give me a problem that you feel affects Black people in America. Just type it in the chat room. I got 3 people in there. So 3 or 4, right? Peace, Narette. It can be anything, any problem that you see, any problem that you feel is affecting us. Peace, Mark Black. Anybody? If I don't get an answer, then I'll just, okay, lack of employment. Mr. Cat, peace. Now, lack of employment means that as a nation, we don't have the ability to create jobs for our people. So that's the systemic problem. You can't create jobs for your people if you don't control industries. That's why Black folks, for the most part, gain the majority of their income comes from them working for white people or working for everybody but Black people. So that's the systemic problem. The systemic problem is when you talk about employment and the inability to create jobs for your people, that's a systemic problem. Now, if you go to the Black talking heads of the conscious community, their solution to that is to start preaching to you about what you can do as an individual to confront this problem. Now, do I have a problem with teaching individuals how to confront systematic problems? No, because in the absence of a systemic solution, you have to do that. You have to. We don't have any systematic response to any of our problems. So this is where the self-help gurus come in, and they go and they tell you, well, this is what you do, brother. First, you got to get your credit score up. Then you got to do this. Then they give you all of these things that you got to do as an individual to confront this systemic problem. Now, that's what you're going to get if you go to the conscious community. What does the BAIO give you as a response to lack of employment? Land, infrastructure, nationhood. If we control the land and we are building the infrastructure, the building of the infrastructure and the maintenance of the infrastructure alone creates jobs. You are creating jobs for your people simply by having land and building and maintaining infrastructure. Problem solved on a systemic level. So you systematically solve the problem of lack of employment by creating infrastructure on a land that you can control. Do you see the difference? I mean, I just want to know before I even continue, just for that one example that I provided, do you see the difference in terms of how you address problems on a systemic level and how you address problems on an individual? Because the self-help gurus don't even touch on land infrastructure nationhood. And basically, and this is a point that I want to make, and I want to make this early in this analysis. What they are trying to do, and I don't know whether it's in, well, all right, let me take my personal opinions out of it and just state what I'm talking about. They, by the way that they approach you and say that you have to solve these problems individually, it's kind of lightweight saying that the problem is your fault. The problem isn't the system that's creating this problem for you to overcome. The problem is you not responding as an individual in the proper way to address the systemic problem. Did that make sense? Or should I say it another way? But basically, because your intelligentsia, your Black talking heads aren't approaching these problems systematically, they're basically putting the whole weight on your shoulders. They're saying this is a systemic problem, yes, and the white supremacy is everywhere, and the white man is Thanos, and he has the Infinity Gauntlet in all the gyms and blah 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 blah. But when they come to you, they don't offer you any systemic solution to this. They say, well, what are you going to do about it? So they basically putting it in your lap. It's your, hey, I told you the white man's trying to kill you. What you gonna do about it, nigga? You see what I'm saying? It's like everything is put on the lap of the individual, and no one is addressing the systemic problem with a systemic solution. And this is crucial. This is crucial because if people don't understand this, we're going to go down a lot of dark alleys ideologically. We're going to go down a lot of dark alleys in terms of having even a discussion or debate, so whatever you want to call it, when you talk about nationhood versus doing it right here. Because the doing it right here people are only going to offer you individual solutions. Now, keep in mind, our brother Thomas in the BAIO had a series called Solutions series. And what he did was he addressed the individual solutions, how you as the individual can maneuver within this system. So we don't have a problem with that. And this is what I want people to understand. I don't have a problem with talking to an individual and telling that individual that this is how you have to maneuver because we don't have any systemic um, response to this. So since we don't have that, we got to teach you as an individual how you can maneuver around it. At least that's upfront and it's on board. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing disingenuous about that. And we make that clear. So yeah, we address individual solutions. But if you start talking about systemic problems, you can't just solve those systemic problems with individual solutions and then claim like that's the only way that you can solve those problems. And that's what the conscious community does. The BAIO realizes that um, land infrastructure nationhood is the solution to our problems here in America. It's the solution. There's nothing that you can mention. Oh wait, hold on. What's going on? Mark Black is calling somebody a troll. Is that Roots word? He says, "Fuck out of here, troll. Pale people's broadcast or that way." Is this a wait? Is Roots word a troll? Oh, that's who it is. Okay, gotcha. Goodbye. See, did I get him out? Yeah, he's gone. Thank you, Mark. this. I'm gonna tell you. This is a different broadcast. What you're gonna find is that I'm not for drama, man, and I'm also not for this group think where everybody thinks the same either. But I'm not gonna sit up here and be going back and forth with trolls. You identify yourself as a troll. I'm kicking you the fuck out of the conversation. And this is what we need to start doing. Like it's too many times where we are in these forums and we allow these guys to come in here and just disturb up everything, and then we start concentrating on them, and it takes us off the message that we're trying to say. So my philosophy is, and a lot of people don't agree with me with this. Like some people say, oh, well, you can't block people, you can't stop people from expressing themselves. I have a different take on that. If I have a home, I can either open up my door and let my neighbors in, or open up my windows and communicate with my neighbors, or I can shut my door and lock it, or shut my windows and be in the house by myself. Or if I choose to have somebody in the house with me, they can come in and we can be conversing with each other and nobody else has to know about it. That's the way I feel about my channel. My channel is my home. And if you think some nigga is just gonna walk off the street and come in my home and start disrespecting me and disrespecting my people, then maybe you got a different. I don't know. I don't live in that type of situation. You don't just come up in my spot doing whatever the fuck you want to do. So I block niggas. I keep you out of the forum. I make it like I said on my channel, that tree falling in the woods with nobody around to hear the sound. Did it really make a noise? Nobody will ever know because you won't be on here. But anyway, that's enough of that. Thank you, Mark. If there's anybody else that comes in, just point them out and I'll knock them the hell out of this group. But like I was saying, the BAIO provides systemic solutions to systemic problems. Now, what's another one? Let me scroll up. I think some people have said something. Oh, Mark Black said, isn't it funny that when anyone brings up whiteism, the very first question most people ask us is, what you're doing for your people? Like it's not a we thing and not an I thing. Yeah, exactly. And the reason why they do that is because it confuses things, you know? And that's what the whole goal of these black talking heads of these people, because they don't want land infrastructure and nationhood, as I've said multiple times, is accountability and responsibility. And the last thing that a black talking head wants is responsibility and accountability. See, in the environment that we have right now, anybody can be a black leader. Anybody can be a black representative. Anybody can represent this vague abstraction of blackness, and there's no accountability. That's why you have 1,000 GoFundMe programs and constantly people asking for your money and taking this to do that or whatever, and you never know what the fuck they're doing with the money, but you give it because you're a good, kind-hearted person and you want to support the cause, quote unquote. That's vague. That's abstract. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing tangible and concrete about that. But when you say land, infrastructure, nationhood, that's tangible. That's concrete. And when you say that and you position that as a solution, then the logical progression, the organic logical progression is, well, damn, how do we go about doing it? All of our conversations going on in our so-called community right now should be centered around how are we going to establish land, where we're going to get the land, how are we going to build infrastructure on that land, and how are we going to maintain the infrastructure, and how are we going to declare ourselves as a nation. What's the process? And when you get into that type of solution-oriented talk, then what you'll have is what's in the BAIO. You'll have STEM groups, agriculture, science, medicine, all of this stuff, all of these different industries where people are trying to figure out, well, what's the best way to do this? What's the best way to build a road? What's the most efficient way to have an irrigation system? How should our power be laid out across our? These are the things that you talk about because you're talking about in terms of ownership. And you don't get involved in misery merchant discussions. Misery merchant discussions for me are any discussions that center around the problems. Where we're constantly talking about, all right, black folks have no morality, whatever that means. Black folks are ratchet. Black folks, I've tried to get away from this stuff as much as possible. So y'all probably can tell me in the chat room the different amount of topics that come up that people talk about. Are, what is it? Who's really black? Whatever that means. Are light skins and dark skin, who's more black than I can't. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I don't need to go through every topic. These are the type of topics that you're going to start hearing, or you're going to continue to hear, because nobody wants to deal with the solution, because the solution stops those topics. If I tell you, how do you get to 4? And I say, the way you get to 4 is you add 2 plus 2. Does it make sense to argue about, see, that's the problem. There's too many people out here trying to add 1 plus 2. How come everybody's trying to add 3 plus 3 to reach 4? See, that's the problem. We need more people trying to, like, nigga, I just told you the solution is 2 plus 2 equals 4. If you know that, why are you talking about all the other shit? Are you just looking for shit to talk about? Has this been reduced to like what are we trying to do? Are we trying to find show topics? That's what we're doing? We're not trying to get solutions. We're trying to find show topics to keep people talking about shit. Listen, man, like I said, this is not going to last too long because I don't have anybody to bounce off of. None of the people I invited called. So it's just me talking, and I hate the sound of my own voice after a while, especially when I think I've already made the point. The point is, we have systemic problems that face us as Black people here in America. Systemic problems on a socio-economic and political level. One way to handle that is by teaching each and every individual how they, as an individual, can address all those problems. That's one way to do it. It doesn't seem to be an efficient way to do it, but that is one way to do it. Or we can address those problems on a systemic level, and then everybody, under that umbrella would have a better life, a better way of dealing with those problems. So which do you think is more practical? Which is more pragmatic? Is it teaching each individual to be a jack of all trades and a master of none? Because let's just step out of it and look at it from white people's perspective. In America, this is white people's system. Now, I know people want to talk all that. This is our shit, bullshit. I'm not going to go into that. This is white people's land. This is their country. This is their government. When you have your own government and your own land, your own infrastructure, and your own nation, you don't have to be brilliant. You don't have to be a jack of all trades and a master of none. You can be a blithering fucking idiot like Donald Trump and be president of your nation. I mean, is Donald Trump exceptional? I mean, he's exceptional in bullshit, but shit, I know a lot of niggas on the street that's exceptional in bullshit. They ain't president. George Bush was what, a C student? White people don't have to be exceptional because it's their system. We, on the other hand, got to do everything twice as good as white folks in order to get half as much as they do. Does anybody in the conscious community or any of these Black talking heads know anything about the concept of efficiency? Or is that just something that we don't even want to address or deal with? Does efficiency even matter to us? How to do something efficiently? Are we, like I said in my previous video, throwing little sheets of toilet paper on a pool full of shit and then patting ourselves on the back for how much work we're doing? I'm sorry, I'm missing the chat room. Let me go back and hear what you're saying. Yeah, misery merchants, I agree. Unify or die is the only answer that's going to work. We need a land-based infrastructure, defense, and collective efforts, not a bunch of exceptional niggas doing their own thing. Yeah, Mark. Yeah, Mark. Like I've often said this, and I've said it so much that it's becoming to my own personal meme. Black folks are a scattered group of individualists aligned by aesthetic similarities. That's what we are. We're a scattered group of individualists aligned by aesthetic similarities, meaning the way that the system sees us, they see us as a group, but we don't behave and act like a group. But they see us as one. There is a nation. It's just an ad hoc nation. You know what I'm saying? But they see us as, like, when they see you walking down the street, they see a Black man, they see a Black woman. You are a part of that group that nobody likes, or that group that we've decided is going to be second and third class citizens. So no matter how much wealth, no matter how much success, no matter how much notoriety you get within the system, it doesn't change the fact that you come from an impoverished group. You come from a second and third class citizen group. And eventually you'll have your Negro wake up call. You know, like Bill Cosby, like Morgan Freeman. You know, all these people who are bigger than race. It's not, I'm not black. I'm not African. I'm universal, man. Until your ass gets into a sling and the system starts coming after you. Now, all of a sudden, that gets transformed into, see, this is a conspiracy against the black man. What black man? What are you talking about? And this is the reason why a lot of people get on me for this, but fuck Bill Cosby and fuck Morgan Freeman. If you decide that you want to be an individualist, then your individual ass take on the system. Don't call for backup. What you think this is, SWAT? Don't call for backup, nigga. Go out there on your code of silence Chuck Norris shit and handle that shit on your own. Am I being unfair? I really want to know. Am I being unfair? If Morgan Freeman said that he's a mongrel, he would rather be a mongrel than to be called an African. And I'm supposed to give a fuck about what happens to that nigga? Really? I must be built differently, man. Because I know there's a lot of black people will forgive. They forgave Bill Cosby because the system was coming after him. Oh, we gotta rally behind Bill. No, we don't. No, we don't. At least I'm not. Fuck that nigga. And I mean that with all my heart and soul. Fuck that nigga. When you decide that you on some universal man bullshit, or you decided that you an individual and you are no longer connected to the group, then fuck you and fuck your problems and fuck what you got to deal with when the system comes after you. Deal with it, nigga. Peace. I don't give a shit. It's because as far as I'm concerned, I didn't do that. I never separated myself from Morgan Freeman and Bill Cosby. Before they opened up their mouth, I saw them as black men. They're the ones that told me they were mongrels. You know what I'm saying? You the one that told me that don't blame the white man. Uh-oh. Now y'all tell me. If you're looking in the chat room, y'all tell me what I should do. I'll leave it up to you. I see one eject. Anybody else? I want this to be democratic. Or somebody better start breaking down what they mean. Want to care to break that down? Deshaun Luckett, you want to break that down, what you're saying when you say we are not African? Oh, Regina has spoken. That's all I need. Thank you, Regina. Anyway, as I was saying, am I being unfair, y'all? Am I being unfair to Bill Cosby? Am I being unfair to Morgan Freeman? Thank you. I didn't think I was. But yeah, I think I've made my point. I really do. I don't think I can break all right, I'll pick another industry. One of the industries that we have an issue with is police brutality. Right? Police are killing us and arresting us, and we're being convicted more than anybody else at an alarming rate, at an unfair rate. How do we solve that? Well, what you do is stop committing crimes, nigga. I mean, if you only did what the cops asked you to do, you would still be alive. Or we'll put out pamphlets and booklets telling our children how to act around the police. That's a solution, right? Like put out a pamphlet or booklet, teaching your black children the things that they need to do you know, when approached by police officers. I just gave you the systemic problem of police brutality, and the solution that you get from these black talking heads is an individual solution. Right, exactly, Mark Black. Oh, I got to keep doing this. Keep in mind, man, I'm not used to this, so I'm trying to change my ways. Hit the like button, join the BAIO website. And when you get to the BAIO website, I'll put in the link in the group, in the chat room. There's chapters in there that show what state you're from. Join the chapter of the state that you live in so we can muster up, because we're in the mustering phase of the BAIO where we're trying to find out how many people are in each state that want nationhood. So I'm trying to periodically do that throughout the show so I won't forget about it, because I do not do promotion. Y'all know this, because if you've been listening to any of my videos, you know that I rarely even tell anybody to subscribe to my own channel. I just get into the issue, start talking about it until I'm finished, and then I'm done. So I'm trying to change my ways and do the right thing. I'm listening to my brother Dynas and seeing how he handles his things and trying to do it in a similar fashion. So do that. But we trying to solve you want to solve the problem of police brutality as a system. So what you do is you tell each individual black person what they need to do because this problem exists individually. Yeah, Regina, you're right. It doesn't matter. Like you said, we're black. Just the fact that we're black in this country is all that's needed to get us killed. I mean, did you see the video recently of the guy who was leaning up against the wall calmly? He had police around him, and then they just start punching him in his face. I mean, one of them, the cop who hit him the most, was a black cop, real tough guy. You know, he's being held by 4 other cops, and you're punching him in the face while his arms can't defend himself. Real tough guy. But see, I'm so frustrated, man, because does anybody really, I mean, do you really want to be put in a position where every stop by the police is life or death, where you got to be thinking, yo, let me get my gun out first before this dude gets his gun out on me? Is that the type of lifestyle you want to be living? Because that's real. Oh, Dynast is Dynast, but his channel is called Search for Uhuru. It's Search FORUHURU. Search for Uhuru. But that's the kind of life that we want to live? Like where everything is like, I was talking about this before. When I'm in Brooklyn and I'm in Park Slope, or if I'll pick Park Slope because that's the perfect example of what I'm talking about. It's in Brooklyn. I see white women and white dudes walking down the street, walking their dogs, smiling. Life is just beautiful for them. They ain't walking around like me with the ice grill on, because, you know, I got to have my ice grill on because, you know, if a nigga think I'm soft, he might try to step to me. Word? This is the reality that we want to live in, where everything got to be real. Yo, niggas, shit is real out here, niggas, son. That's the shit you want to live in for the rest of your life. And then better yet, you want your children to live that way? I mean, just think for a moment what it would be like if your people controlled the context of their reality. And I'm not talking about in this system. I'm talking about in your own system. Because you can have black cops in this system and you're going to get punched in the face just like a white cop would punch you in the face. I'm talking about where the system belongs to you, where you and your people control the system. And don't include the nigger in the conversation. You know what I'm saying? Where you functional, intelligent, black, African-centered people control the context of their reality, then maybe you would be outside strolling down the street smiling. Maybe that would be your reality. But right now we're in a reality where we gotta teach our children how to be hard. We gotta be hard. Why? Because our life is hard. And instead of us trying to come up with something to eliminate that, what we want to do is just live in it perpetually and then think that that's not dysfunctional. It's dysfunctional when you got to wake up in the morning worried about every move that you make and how it might be considered hostile by somebody that has the ability to take your life. That's not normal. And this is why I really strongly suggest for people to get a passport and leave this country every once in a while. I'm trying to go to South Africa. I want to go to South Africa this year if I can. If I can't go this year, then at least to begin. I actually want to be in another country when the year turns. Like when we go into 2019, I don't want to be in America. I want to be in another country because I've never done that before. Maybe that would, that would be symbolically setting the pace for what's to come in the future. But we have to get used to um, the concept of living functional lives. Like my brother, I was talking with my brother earlier today, and we was talking about the old school, the people that grew up in the South, and the way that they think compared to the kids who grew up in New York or grew up in the cities. And he was telling a story about my aunt who passed years ago, but she was probably the sweetest person that I've ever met in my life. My aunt was so mild and meek and nice that she could take some extra hardcore ODB dude and he would just automatically calm down in her presence. You know what I mean? I mean, you might know people like that, but she had that type of spirit that you couldn't get hyped around her. You would just automatically just like, oh, like her whole spirit calmed you. She's such a sweet lady. But you could tell that she was beat up by that generation. It's like my brother took her to I don't know whether it was Atlantic City or it might have been Foxwoods or something. It was some casino and they spent the night there. And she was afraid to use the towels because the way, when you go into the hotel, they have the towels set up so pretty and whatever. And she was afraid to use them. And my brother was like, yo, listen, use whatever you want to use. And after you use them, we'll call and have them put some more towels up there. You know what I'm saying? And that's like a little trivial example, but it just gives you an idea of the mentality that comes from the conditioning that we go through as a people. Like another example he used is one of our friends of the family. He would always go to the junkyard to get used parts to make whatever he wanted to make. And my brother said, "Why would you get used? Just get new shit." And I said, and I just told him, I said, "Listen, man, this is the culture that we came up in. We Black folks deal with what we got. That's the culture that we've come up in. We deal with what we got. We don't expect to have great stuff. So what do? We take the subpar shit and make it work for us. Isn't that how hip hop started? We didn't have instruments to buy all of those fancy guitars and whatever. So what we did, we took the turntable and came up with an art. I mean, there's good to that, and there's also bad to it too. It's nice to be able to be creative with little means. I mean, that says a lot about you. But also, what's wrong with expecting the best? What's wrong with when you come out of the gate, you expect the best. You don't look for subpar shit. You look for the very best of whatever it is. What's wrong with that? But this is the culture that we are in right now. The culture that we're in right now is adaptive culture. And one of my favorite phrases, and this is the phrase that I have on my page, on my Facebook page, and I actually use this phrase all the time. Hey, peace, what's up, Thurl? Is you know what? Rather than me trying to go off the top of my head, let me go to the quote because I don't want to misquote it. I don't want to paraphrase. I want to do exactly how it says. Uh, 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 uh. Oh shit. Now that's shocking. I thought I had it on my Facebook page, but I don't. All right. Well, I remember the phrase. It's about the reasonable man. The reasonable man adapts to the world that's around him. The unreasonable man expects the world to adapt to him. Therefore, all progress is made by the unreasonable man. And I consider myself the unreasonable man. I expect the world to adapt to me. Black folks are reasonable. We adapt to what's given to us. The world gives us this shit. We figure out, well, how can I make this shit work for me? I'm not saying that that's all bad. Nothing is ever all bad or all good. There's pros and cons to everything. I'm just saying, let white people do that shit. I'd rather be the unreasonable man and have the world adapt to me and my reality and me live the life that I want to live. Let them be creative for about 400 years. You can keep your fucking creativity. If that's the price that needs to be paid for us to have a nation of our own and some shit of our own, fuck it. Let white folks be creative for 400 years. You figure out how to work with nothing. And pat yourself on the fucking back for that. We did it for what, 400, 500 years? I think we've shown our creativity. Now it's time to own some shit. Now it's time to produce a population that doesn't have to be exceptional in order to be successful. Let's flip that shit around. I'd rather be that. You know what I'm saying? Fuck all of this. Everybody, we want to hold on to this poverty shit as if it's some honorable thing to have shit. You know what I'm saying? No, it's not honorable. We did what we had to do, and I appreciate all that we've done. I'm not putting it down, but it's time to move. It's time to step shit up, man. And land infrastructure nationhood is stepping fucking shit up. Like I said, let's flip it around. Let white folks be creative. Let them come up with their own version of music. Let them come up with their own hip hop because they can't afford to get instruments. Let them create cuisine from scraps, from pig parts. Let them do that shit. Yeah, you're right. Regina said white people would kill themselves. Problem solved. Hey, that's on you, buddy. I'm quite sure they wouldn't have a problem if we killed ourselves. But we come from stronger stock than them. But that's the basic, point of this show was to show how if we're going to solve our problems, we have to solve them in a systemic fashion. And the only systematic way that I see to solve our problems is land, infrastructure, nationhood. And once again, I'm going to do this. I'm getting good. Tell me if I'm getting good at this promotion thing, because I'm not used to it. Click on the link, join the BAIO website, the Ning site. And when you join, go to your state chapter and join that so that we can know what state you're in. Also, and I haven't even mentioned this, inside the BAIO groups is industries and professions. Join that too. I want you to do that, but the most important thing is to join your not New York, your state chapter. I'm in New York. So that we know where you are. What's up, cuz? So thank you, Narette. Thank you. I'm trying. I'm trying. Like Jonathan said, we're at the mustering stage right now. And like I said, all of this stuff requires not one freaking dime out of your pocket. It does not take a dime out of your pocket to like this video. It does not take a dime out of your pocket to subscribe to this video. It does not take a dime out of your pocket to hit that bell and be notified when I release content. It doesn't take a dime out of your pocket to join the BAIO Ning site and to join your state chapter. It doesn't take a dime out of your pocket to share these videos and share the site. Invite more people from your state into the group. And it's all free because the admins, the people who created the site, we are paying for it. And it's no big deal. It's not that much monthly for us to pay. Between all of us, the people that's contributing, we can take care of those costs. So that's the reason why we don't have to ask anybody for anything to maintain the site. Because as long as we can input into it, the site stays, active. So Thorough says he's trying to get the reality stone to change our reality. Yeah, I want the infinity gauntlet. I want to do that finger snap. Speaking of which, I know this is off topic, but I'm really dying to see how this second part of Avengers Infinity War is going to go down. I'm really interested in that. But that's another topic for another day. But anyway, I'm pretty much done, y'all. I'm pretty much done with what I wanted to say. I think I got my point across. And if anybody has any questions, just type it in and I'll try to answer. But if not, then I'm going to break out. But I think the point has been made. We can't allow these people to keep gaming us. We can't allow them to keep coming up with these individual solutions to systemic problems, because if you refuse to address it on a systemic level, then you suspect, and we need to start looking at them as suspect people. For those of us who know how to generate funds, how can we represent this to the group? When you go into the group, you have BAIO, finance, and economics. Boom. Actually, let me put that in there for you. Make it easier. This is for Mr. Cat. That's the group that you would go to for that. I would say every industry that you can possibly think of, there's a group in the BAIO for it. And if it's not, we'll create it. There's even a group for atheists and agnostics. I ain't got no problem with somebody that don't believe in God. Do you believe in land, infrastructure, nationhood? You may not believe in God. Do you believe in LIN? That's just me personally. I don't give a shit about people's personal lives. As long as what matters is what I do in my personal life. Because I'm quite sure if there's a girl out there that you really feeling, and some dude is banging that girl, are you getting any benefit from him banging her out, or is he getting benefits from it? You ain't even in the room when it's going down. So how does that help you? That's how I feel. It's like I don't waste my time with shit that ain't got nothing to do with me. Anybody else? I'm with the red on that. She says I'm trying to leave our reality. I don't blame you. Oh, nobody else? All right. Well, thank you for all tuning in. Who's Philip? He says, thank you, Philip. Peace. Is Philip somebody that I blocked? Because I don't see him. I'm sorry. But I hope you got that, Mr. Cat. But anyway, y'all, that's all I really want to say. I just want to drive that point home that if you notice, whenever we start talking about systemic problems and they get to the solution portion of whatever we are talking about, or they are talking about, I should say, you're not going to get a systemic solution. You can watch every Hidden Colors video you want to. They are not going to give you a systemic solution. And I'm not putting down Hidden Colors. There's a lot of information in there that I think is cool. It reminds me kind of the slave theater in a way. I'm speaking specifically about solutions. When they get to the solutions portion, they're not going to offer anything systematic, because systematic is when you start talking about collective problem solving. They're only concerned about the individual. And that's problematic. That's the only point that I'm trying to make. I can create one. I don't think there's a London chapter I've created yet, but I can create that right now. So have you joined the group? Because if you're in the group, um, actually, if you're in the group, send me a message. Or if you haven't joined, join now. Because if you join now, I can see when you join, and I'll create a London UK group. No problem at all. But anyway, people, it's been real. I'm probably going to do this another time. I don't think I'm going to do it this weekend. I might, because they're talking about thunderstorms and shit. So if I can't go out and enjoy the day, I'm going to be in here talking to y'all. So anyway, love you all, and I'll holler at you later. Peace.